Welcome, everybody, to the You Are Worthy Network. I am your host, Steve Wormer, and excited to be with you this Tuesday afternoon. Hope you guys are having a tremendous start to your week. Um, Sorry, I'm getting a little feedback in my ear. That kind of messed with me for a minute. But anyway, hope you guys are having a tremendous start to your week. And I want to tell you before I introduce our amazing guest, and she is amazing for sure, that you guys know me as Steve the pastor. You guys know me as Steve the podcast host. And all of that's true. Love every minute of it. Did you also know that I'm a keynote speaker? Did you also know that I'm a mindset coach called the Breakthrough Igniter? And you're like, what is that? Well, I love helping people get unstuck. I've been stuck more times than I'd like to admit, but we all get there. And I've learned that we don't typically get unstuck alone and that we need a little help outside the box to give us a little momentum, a little spark, if you will, to start crossing the bridge towards those dreams that you have deep in your heart that you have tabled for way too long. I want to help you ignite those dreams again. And there's some ways that I do that, but one of the ways is my friend and fellow coach, Christy Days, and we have a program in less than 2 weeks, Monday the 31st, called Worthy of the Next Step. And it's so helpful. It's going to be incredible. It's a 1 hour masterclass on Zoom. You can register at stevewormer.com. You can find it on the You Are Worthy Network. You can find it on my personal page, the link, the QR code. It's all there, easy to find. But I want you to be there because just in case you thought I wasn't talking to you, you are worthy of the next step towards your dreams. Just wanted to put that out there. So you're like, Steve, be quiet and get to the guest. I'm going to do that. I'm going to obey. Andrea Merrill is the founder of Andrea Merrill Company, a boutique speaking, messaging, and marketing firm that helps experts become unforgettable on stage and impossible to ignore off it. Before launching her company, Andrea spent more than 20 years as a behavior and trauma therapist, working some of the highest stakes cases imaginable. Her work included severe clinical presentations, public figures, and complex forensic and courtroom cases where reading people accurately wasn't just valuable, it was essential. She holds a master's in psychology with a specialization in applied behavior analysis, giving her a unique lens into human behavior, communication, and decision making. Today, Andrea applies that same psychology to the speaking industry. She doesn't teach speakers how to tell their stories better. Excuse me, let me try that again. She doesn't teach speakers how to tell better stories. She uncovers the defining story they've been overlooking all along, the one that establishes authority, builds trust, and transforms a keynote into a business asset. Her psychology driven messaging has helped clients generate more than $80 million in revenue, land TEDx stages, increase speaking fees, and create talks that consistently convert audience into clients. Her work and expertise has been featured by CNN, NBC, and ABC. Andrea believes the most valuable thing you bring to the stage isn't another framework or another credential. It's a story only you can tell, the one you're too often close to recognize, because the story is already in you and she helps set it free. Oh my goodness, I want to jump right in, but we have to ease into it. So I have to wait a little. Andrea, welcome to the Your Worthy Network.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It is such a pleasure.
Oh, it's tremendous to have you, and I'm so grateful to have you with us today. You know, one of the benefits, Andrea, of having a group, we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary of launching the You Are Worthy Network.
Yay!
It's been such a tremendous blessing, and 19,000 people later,
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the Lord doing immeasurably more. But I never want to assume somebody knows where somebody else is because I could have people watching from all over the world, watching your interview the next 30 days. So tell us, where do you call home?
I call home Casa Grande, Arizona.
And tell us where that is in relation to Phoenix, because everybody knows where Phoenix is, right?
Everybody knows where Phoenix is. Everybody knows where Tucson is. So I am actually the middle point between Tucson and Phoenix. So I'm an hour car ride from either place.
Okay. And how long have you been there?
I have been here for 12 years.
Okay. Okay. And so in Arizona, where tell us more about your family, who you do life with. Tell us about the tribe, if you will.
Sure. I have a big tribe. I am married to my high school sweetheart. I've been with him since I'm 15 years old. It is incredible. We have five beautiful children that we absolutely adore. They are growing up way too fast. They are 17, 16, 14, 12, and 7. We love to go camping. We love to go off-roading. We love trying we're on this new brunch phase of trying new brunch places, and we like the weirder the names. So it's fun to like hear different names. And we are just really enjoying life at the moment of the little pieces. I'm remembering just the little moments for me because time passes by so quickly.
Yeah, it flies by for sure. You definitely have a busy household with those
Yeah.
ages of children. Probably never a dull moment. Have you slept in the last couple of years?
No, sleep is hard.
So when the gang's all together, and it sounds like
Mhm.
that's often, obviously, because they're all still under the roof, what do you
Yeah.
guys like to do for fun in addition to camping?
Oh, so we love game nights. Game nights are so much fun. Another thing that we love to do is pizza nights. So we will create all our different individual pizzas. That's a lot of fun. But I have to say, our game nights are probably our favorite. I, my kids like playing off the wall games, and they just bring in all types of, especially. I'm officially dating myself. I feel old now because I'm like trying all these new games and I'm like, they are so different. Like whose phone, who's this? It's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm older than you, and I'm like, even as you're describing that, I'm thinking Clue, I'm thinking
Uh-huh.
Candyland, I'm thinking Monopoly. I'm like, I'm so
That's what I want to play. Like I literally grew my kids up on playing all the old games and now they're like, "Mom, like we don't want to play these games."
like, I mean, there's all these different, even if you do play Monopoly now, there's like 20 different versions of it that I don't
Yes.
even recognize. So,
There are so many different ones, but my kids
uh,
absolutely loved a game.
but you know what's important is that they want to be engaged with you guys, and
Yeah,
you're all around the same table having fun, and that's what matters.
that is. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's have a little fun. Let's get into your well, we're going to get into your mindset when you were younger here in a couple of minutes, but let's do a little game of this or that so the
Okay.
folks can get to know you a little bit. And what I want you to do, I'm going to give you two options. Don't overthink it. Go with the first
Okay.
one that comes to your mind. And in this variety of questions I give you, we will let you use both one time.
Okay.
So be wise in when you use it. All right, let's go country music or rock music.
Country music.
Okay, all right. Read the book or watch the movie.
Watch the movie.
Okay. Books or podcast.
Podcasts.
I think I know how you're going to answer this next one. Camping or hotel?
Camping.
Yep, there it was. Cook or takeout?
Takeout.
And what are you taking out?
Uh, I don't know. Freddy's.
And what is, I don't know what Freddy's is.
It's like this hamburger joint here in Arizona, and they have these string fries that I'm in love with.
Okay. I could get in trouble at Freddy's. Um, early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
How early?
4 a.m.
Ooh, that is very early. Okay. All right. Dogs or cats?
Ooh, dogs.
Okay. Drive or fly?
Lately, fly.
I got you. I got you. Oceans or mountains?
Ooh, both.
That would have been the one I'd use both on too.
Yeah.
Ice cream or cake?
Ice cream.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Very good. That's it. Good job.
Yay!
Nice job.
Thanks.
You were wise and when you used your both. I like that.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back in time a little bit.
Mm,
We're going to take you back to high school. And
okay.
specifically, we're going to take you back to your senior year. You've already got your cap and gown. Graduation's on Friday night. It's Wednesday afternoon after lunch. I mean, you're basically 48 hours away from having that diploma in your hand after all those years of education. And, 17, 18-year olds, I've got a 17-year-old that just graduated high school in May, and he's got a couple of options he's looking at doing. He's working full time already, so he's already putting some money away. But it's fascinating to me, even when I look back at my choices at that age, to see the different mindset people are in. So we want to get into yours a little bit. So at that point, 48 hours away from graduation, was it, gosh, this flew by so quick. I'm gonna miss this place. I guess I better get a job. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the fall, but I'll figure it out. Or the other end of that spectrum, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? 48 hours? Come on, this can't go by fast enough. Come on. I've got senioritis on a 10 scale of about a 12 right now. Yeah, I'm going to miss a few folks, but get me out of here. I'm going to work my job that I already have. I'm going to work it this fall or this summer. In the fall, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get this degree. I'm going to go do this for a career. Or were you somewhere in between? No right or wrong answer. We just want to know where you were.
Mm. So I come from a very traumatic background, and I could not wait to graduate. Oh my God. It literally was the very thing that I looked forward to. So I actually, this is definitely getting in the weeds, but I lived with my mother and my stepfather. And I loved my stepdad, but he was very, very hard on me. And my mom was torturous. It was a very hard relationship between us. And then I had my real dad come into my life. And when he came into my life, he didn't just come into my life, he came back into my mother's life. And what he did was he took my mom away. And my mom moved away to Tennessee with him. I was around 15, 16 years old. And I, at that time, met my husband, and I was actually really in the weeds. Like, I was not making the right choices. I was choosing to overdose on over-the-counter medication. It was really, really hard. So, my husband was my pivotal point in my life. And he told me if I didn't graduate, that he would break up with me and we couldn't be together anymore. And I was like, I held him to his word. And I was like, okay, well, if I got to graduate, I want to be with this guy. He is my guy. And I graduated. And the moment that I graduated, I moved in with him.
Okay, so let's go back a half a step. So it
Yeah.
sounds like, at that point in your life, you were thinking about leaving school.
Yes, I wanted to leave school. I didn't care about graduating. I didn't understand what school actually meant for me. It was always something that felt very overwhelming and didn't feel good. Like I wasn't going there to learn what I wanted to learn. It was always learning something else, which now I
Right.
know as an adult that it's obviously something that we need and it actually prepares us for our life. This is literally the conversations I've been having with my kids even this week. So
Mm,
it's funny that we're having this conversation. So, yeah, for me, I thought that school wasn't in the cards and that I wasn't even going to graduate. And honestly, I was ready to sign out at 16 years old.
wow. So there's a couple of things going on here, and I don't want to get too far in the weeds either, but I am curious. So your mom is married to your stepfather.
Yeah.
Your father comes into the picture in your life again, and then he re-enters her life. She leaves your stepdad to go back to your dad.
So she never got an official divorce from my stepdad.
Mm.
They actually all ended up living together under the same roof until I moved out.
Oh, mercy.
Yes, so they actually lived with each other, all three of them, until my father passed away 2 years ago, which is my stepdad. I don't consider my
Mm,
real dad my dad. He was this like dirty little secret in our life, I feel like, if I'm being
mm.
honest. Yeah.
No, I track with you. Oh yeah, what a challenge. And then you mentioned over-the-counter medication. What led to that? And what
So,
was it if you're able to tell us?
yeah, no, it's actually something that I'm starting to share now. I was very embarrassed and ashamed that I had did that, but given the circumstances, I decided to stay with my stepdad and I wanted to live with him and my mom could go gallivant wherever she wanted with whoever she wanted. And I ended up hanging out with the wrong crowd and just making the wrong decisions. And I thought that these friends cared about me and I cared about them. And at the end of the day, I think we were all just really hurt kids from our families that we had chose to do over the counter. I mean, I remember going to these stations, like this is even how awful it was, and we would steal this over the counter medication. So we would all numb from the pain of what we were going through in our family situation. And for me at the time, it was my mother running away and choosing a man over her child, which she's done my entire life.
I'm so sorry, goodness.
Yeah,
Do you have siblings?
I do.
Are you the oldest?
I am.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, I
I
am. Yeah.
I got you. So it sounds like your soon to be husband in your world at that time, as a 15, 16, 17 year old, he was definitely a calming influence.
Yeah, I actually met him on Yahoo Chat. It was a North Carolina Yahoo chat room. And actually, it's funny, I was hanging out with one of my best friends at the time, and I was getting photos from different people that I was talking to at the time. And I remember seeing this photo. And I was like, I'm going to marry this man. I don't know who he is, but I am going to marry him. And me and my husband had been together for about a year, and I saw this photo in his home. And I asked him who it was, and he said that it was him. And I was like, I knew it, that you were going to be the man that I would marry. So we actually talked for about 2 years before we met. He knew how hard my home life was. It was always something really challenging for us to get together, but we actually met on October 17th, 2004. And that's when we started dating and how long we've been together.
So he's a little bit older, right?
He is 3.5 years older. So now looking at my daughter, I'm like, I don't know if I want an 18-year-old hanging out with you.
Right. Yeah, that's a difficult one, especially when it worked out so well for you.
I know, it really is.
But you're like, honey, most of them don't work out that
Yeah,
well.
I was like, this is not something that happens all the time. She's like, but you never know. I was like, I never do know. She's right. But it is an anomaly what we have.
Yeah. So, you know, what happens next? Because obviously you go on to become well educated and go on to have a successful early career. I mean, how did that come about? I
Yeah.
mean, so you were overusing some over the counter medications, but would you stop short and saying it was an addiction, or was it?
No, it was never an addiction. It was something that I did randomly at different times. I've never, this is something why I went into psychology is I wanted to understand about my background, right? And see who I could help in the future. And I don't actually have an addictive personality. I've never actually gotten addicted to anything, but it's amazing to watch my family and their addictions and their addiction to alcohol, to committing crimes, to doing all kinds of things as I was growing up. So I knew that I never wanted to be a statistic. I knew that I wanted to be different than my family was. And I knew that since I'm a little girl, I've always said I wanted to be a better mother than my mother because I didn't feel like I had one. So I knew that I wanted to become a mom, I wanted to become a wife, and then I wanted a career. And that's literally how I did it. So I had our first child before we got married, actually. He was about 4 weeks old when we tied the knot. And then I went on and I was actually building my career, so building my education while I was having babies. So I went and got my associate's degree in human services. I got my bachelor's in science of psychology of applied behavioral analysis, and then I also got my master's in that as well. What's wild is I hated high school, but if you could pay me to go to college, I would be there forever.
Yeah, I mean it's actually the dynamics kind of fascinating because you come from this traumatic background and then you find stability in your soon to be husband and y'all finally connect, you finally get meet you finally start your family and then you go after your career with all this zeal and fervor
Yeah.
and it's paid off. But I do want to ask you before we go too deep into the career, like what coming from the background you came from, how did that affect? Because you see, it doesn't sound like from a results perspective, it doesn't sound like it affected anything because you're achieving at a high level now
Yeah.
um in your studies. But I know that there had to be a season or two or four of feeling unworthy because of your background. Would that be accurate?
No, I always felt what's wild is I didn't do well in high school, but in college, I was on the dean's list, the president's list. I kept a 4.0 and higher. Like I was like, no, this is what I was meant to do. I am
Mm.
worthy of this. I'm committed to this. I can absolutely achieve this. And nothing is going to stand in my way of achieving the results that I wanted to achieve. Like literally, I was giving birth to my third child and I had a paper due. And I remember telling them, hey, I have a paper due, like I'm due. And they're like, no, 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 you have to push. Like it's time to push the baby out. And I was like, no, I have a paper due. So I remember submitting my paper right before I gave birth to my third child because I was so committed to my degree, to what I was doing. I also became a guardian ad litem for abused and neglected children. So I would be a voice
Well,
to those that didn't have one. So I always felt worthy of this because of what I had been through in my past, which is kind of counterintuitive if you think about it.
it is fascinating. I do have to wonder in those moments where mom made choices that didn't make you the priority. if that affected you.
Oh, 100%. And still affects me. Like my actually over the weekend, and last week, my sister called me. She is having a really hard time with our mother, and I really understand how she feels. So I tried to be there for her. And with that, there's always like words that just slap you in the face. And that's
Mm.
literally how I felt this week. And I keep reverting back to that sad little girl that was like, I'm never going to be good enough for her. So I actually spoke to one of my clients this morning. She's a doctor, and she's like, you have to come to terms and come to peace with where your relationship is. And it felt like a moment of I've always held on to hope that something will be better, but I recognize that it's never going to be that way. So coming to peace is actually going to help that worthiness and that showing up, because I've always held on to some sliverness, and it's like I'm the only one really holding on to it.
Yeah, that makes total sense. It's better to be at peace with it and resolved in your heart that this is the way it's going to be. If by some miracle she changes and reaches out and engages or changes, it'll be a unexpected pleasant surprise, but you're not holding out hope for it anymore. I like that
Exactly.
perspective, and I love how you've taken a difficult, well, a extremely traumatic part of your childhood, and you, for the most part, did not let that dictate to you. Those circumstances did not dictate to you who you were going to be, what you were going to accomplish. And look at all the amazing things that the Lord has blessed you with in the last several years. And so you were very successful in your early on career. I'm fast forwarding just a little bit here, but I love what we read in your bio, and you and I've talked a little bit before today. I love how you're helping people now. Tell us a little bit of how it came about that you're helping speakers tell their stories. How your background in psychology helped me. Tell us the story if you could. How you made the
Yeah.
jump into that from what you were doing.
Yeah, so I was a behavior and trauma therapist for high profile cases. I not only worked with the victims, but I also worked with the perpetrators. So at that time, that was around 2017, 2018, and I got diagnosed with papilledemia pseudotumor cerebri. It's a fancy word for saying I have a benign tumor. It acts as a tumor on my brain and it pushes on my eyes. It's a lot of pressure. And it causes me to have severe migraines. So I had had this for not very long. And all of a sudden, I got pregnant. And come to find out, pregnancy makes things worse, of course, because your blood, your tissue, like your everything in your body expands as you're having a baby. So my appendix ruptured actually at 20 weeks pregnant with her, which
Mm.
caused a lot of uncertainty. I had to be airlifted out. And I also had to be ambulanced out. I had to be rushed into emergency surgery for them to remove my appendix. Unfortunately, after they had came out, I was sitting with my husband, and then all of a sudden I remember talking to him, and then I remember not being conscious. Unfortunately, they didn't get everything out, so they had to place a drain in, and that had to stay in for quite some time. Because of that, I caught MRSA. I went into preterm labor. I'm telling you, whatever could go wrong was going wrong. And finally, a month before I give birth, so I'm around 34 weeks pregnant at this time, they send me home. This was after the MRSA scare. I had to be quarantined for a little while. And I come home, I'm home for about a week. And of course, I want to nest, right? Like, I'm about to have our fifth baby. We haven't been home. Like, I literally haven't done anything that I had previously done with my other children. So I was feeling very worried that not like the things weren't going to get done. And my water breaks at 2 a.m. This is 7 days after I had been home. So I only had 7 days of prep.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I had so much PTSD that I did not want to go back to the hospital, but I knew that I had to go to have her because there was not a planned birth at home that we had planned for. So, of course, I had to go back to the hospital. I have some complications, but really, I end up getting to come home with this new, beautiful baby girl. And she is such a blessing, and I loved her so much. But we came home to foreclosure, our HOA auctioning off our home, and our water being turned off. It's about 120 degrees out in Phoenix. It's so hot, right? In Casa Grande. And I had this piece of crap, like it was really crappy red van, and it had no AC. It caught fire actually in North
Oh my
Carolina. It
gosh.
was no, it was terrible. She was finicky. She didn't like weather. So I couldn't take my baby with me. I had to leave her at home. The water was in my name. I drove all the way to the water company. I'm telling you, I cried profusely. At that
Mm.
point, I had never really cried like I had cried at that point. And I got to the water company, got the water turned back on, and on the way home, I turned on a podcast and I believe that it was God speaking to me that when I was actually in the hospital, I was helping one of my friends recreate her brand, her website, anything that I could do for stimulation. I did it. I didn't want to just lay in the hospital bed and do nothing. That would have drove me nuts. So of course I'm helping her. I helped her reach $1 million in her business. And I thought if I could help her, I can help other people. So I bought a book called Wander Over Worry. It's by Amber Ray. And I put this book on. I'm actually, my office right now was a guest bedroom, and I remember coming in this room with my new baby, blowing up an air mattress, having my iPhone 8, listening to this book, building my website on my iPhone 8. And for 7 days, I pushed. I talked about my story. I talked about what I had been through, where I'm going, all the credentials that I have, all the things and the stories that made me me. And I made $12,500 in 7 days. And I was like, that's it. I went, I paid for my house to get out of foreclosure, the HOA, and I got us a new car. And I
Wow.
remember being on cloud nine.
Wow. I mean, I don't even know where to go with that. I mean, that's amazing. Um, I did not know until fairly recently well, I don't even know if I've ever heard of the word MRSA, let
Mm,
alone how serious and life-threatening it can be.
yeah,
Um, and then the fact that your appendix broke, emergency surgery, 34 weeks pregnant. I mean, I'm sure I'll leave out things. I mean, the house in foreclosure, there's no electricity, the van's on fire. I mean, oh my gosh. And
yeah.
then, I mean, you're working full time while all this is going on, right? Are you on medical leave at this point?
I was on medical leave at that point. They put me on FMLA. There was no going to work. I was pretty much 3 months hospitalized.
Wow. Ah, I love God's redemptive plan, and it's on full display with you at this point in our conversation.
Yeah.
Um, So in 2026, you learned how to tell your story. You learned how to help other people tell their story, and you're making a living doing it, which is always a blessing.
Yeah,
Um, let's take a sampling of your clients.
sure.
They come to you and they want to work with you using just 3 words, which is challenging. Using just 3 words, describe what they're feeling when they first contact you.
Ooh.
I'll use one.
Okay.
We don't have to land on this one just to get the thought process going. Hopeless.
Mm. Hopeless is good. I think there's a lot of fear, disbelief, and I would even say unworthiness.
Mm, all right, let's recap that. Fear, disbelief, unworthiness.
Yeah.
So they work with you for a while, and I obviously this is a snapshot. But on the other side of working with you, now name 3 words to describe how they feel.
Confident, belief. I would even say strategic.
So let's check this out. So, folks coming to work with Andrea before they work with her are feeling fearful, disbelief, and unworthiness. After having worked with her, they feel confident, relieved, strategic. From fearful to confident, from disbelief to relieved, from unworthiness to strategic. How about that for night and day? I do that exercise occasionally because when I do it, I don't feel like the guest is going to brag on themselves, if you will. But I understand that in transformative work like that, and it is, that God does the heavy lifting every time,
Mhm.
every time. However, he needs a skilled, but also available and willing vessel like Andrea to work through. And look what he's doing with the client she works with. Amazing, amazing. Why do you love it so much? What gets you out of bed in the morning?
Oh my gosh. I love hearing literally even this morning, that woman that I talked about, the doctor, she actually wants to send me a referral and she is like, I loved working with you. But what it was you told the story in the way that I never saw my story. And that's what it is I find the patterns, I see the recognition, I see what you've been through, what you're going through, where you're headed, and I always write the story that you never saw coming. And that is what is so exciting to me is that I get to brag on them when they don't even realize that they're bragging on themselves.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that'll get you up at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
um, one of the things that I thought was unique to what you do, maybe it's not, but I thought it was you help speakers. Let's just use me for an example. Like I've got 4 keynotes right now, but and my story needs a lot of help still, just in all transparency. Okay. Um, I have it in bits and pieces of a couple of them, but what you do is another level of how to tell it. But you actually write a keynote for your clients. Is that correct? Tell us if
Yeah.
that's correct and why you do that.
Yeah, I absolutely do that. It's so funny because a lot of my clients, they come to me and they're very nervous that they're going to lose their voice in what I write. And what I let them know is that is the furthest thing from the case. We're actually right. I am writing the way that you speak, not the way that you write. There's two different forms, right?
Mm.
The way that we're speaking is the way that we need to come across. But when you're thinking about it, you're like, oh, I need to write this out. Well, writing sounds very different. So I like to listen to them. I like to story mine with them. I love to listen to their words and the way that they are I'm pattern recognizing what is happening. So, yeah, I like to write in their spoken language.
I love that. What else is on the horizon for you? Is there a book? Is there already a book that I don't know about? Is there speaking engagements?
Yeah, so I actually do story mining live. It is something that I love to do. I am having one next week on the 25th, and I plan on doing them monthly. And what it is it's a way for people to really start seeing the magic of what story mining is. It can be really hard to be like, oh, when you don't understand something, it's great to watch it in real life. So what I do is I listen to somebody, I ask the questions, and then I live write their keynote, a 5 minute keynote right there. And I let the audience listen to how the difference is from the way that she spoke it to the way that we write it and the way that we can really share our message with others.
Tell folks more about that. So it's a week from today on the 25th, like you said.
Yep.
What time? How can they find out more about it?
Yeah, so they can go to mineamoment.com and it is on the 25th at 4 p.m. That is actually Mountain Standard Time, so Arizona time.
Yeah, because I think it's 7:30 Eastern,
Yep.
6:30 Central, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, you are right. It's 6 to 6:30 and then yep, that's it.
Okay, awesome. And tell folks where they can find out more about you on your other social media platforms. We'll have all this in the show notes, but I'd love for them to hear it from you.
Yeah, you can find me at the Andrea Merrill on Instagram. You can also find me, I believe the same thing, Andrea Merrill on LinkedIn. My website is andreamerrill.co. I like to keep it consistent.
Yeah, no, that's great. Um, what would August the 18th, 2026, what would today's Andrea say to 15-year-old Andrea?
Mm. Oh, oh man, that you have everything that you've ever needed.
Hmm. Hmm. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. Andrew, what would you say to the person today that might come across this video? They're looking for a little hope, they're looking for a little encouragement. They're not the quitting type, but they're stuck, they're discouraged. Um, they're kind of stuck in a routine and they do well just to get up and fix a cup of coffee and get in the car and go to work and go through the motions and come home and they've got kids and they've got chores and they've got a to-do list a mile long, but they feel empty. How would you encourage them today?
Mm. I think the hardest thing in life is feeling like you have to do it alone. And that person that is mindlessly doing the same thing over and over and maybe expecting a different result is probably going at it alone. And my biggest advice would be to find a support system. I know for me, I have very much gone internally. I don't want to show up. I will hide. I will close the door. But it's always the people that are around me that support me the most are the reason why I keep pushing on. And I know that there is a life out there that I need to change, and it's one person at a time. But that one person goes on to make a ripple effect. And that's what we get to do every day is even if it's one person, it goes on to 4 people, 10 people, 20 people. And that's what I encourage you to do is find the support, lean on the people that you love, and know that you're not doing this alone.
I love it. Gold advice for sure. Um, I want to thank you for being our special guest today. I want to thank you for sharing some parts of your journey that are not easy to share. So thank you for being vulnerable. I see a lady with a love of God, a love of her family, huge heart, loves other people, wants to give back, has a lot to be grateful for. All of that has come shining through today. So thank you so much for letting us get to know a little bit, little path into your heart and about your journey. I also see someone that is full of grit and tenacity. And that kind of combination of grit and tenacity with still a soft heart is rare these days. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun, and thank you for making it a safe place to be able to share.
Absolutely. What I want to remind you guys of today is your story's not over yet. It's not over. Even if you're in, and I'm going to say this very compassionately, if you're in a season that's really, really difficult, we feel that. You're not alone. Rely, like Andrea said, on the people you have in your life. And when we're going through a tough time, a wilderness season, if you will, it's tough. There's just no other way to communicate it. It's hard. But what I want to encourage you with today is however prolonged that season may be or end up being, it is still just a chapter. There are other chapters waiting to be written. Matter of fact, maybe they're already written, they just haven't been revealed to you yet. But some of the best chapters in your life are still to come. Hang on for that. You are most definitely worthy of love, respect, and success. We appreciate all of you. Until next time, God bless. Take care.